Good morning. Today we are going to be reading chapter 9 of The Mouse and the Motorcycle. So today's chapter is called Ralph Takes Command. It was a sad night for Ralph, a sad and lonely night. If he went back to the mouse hole, his mother was sure to worry him with embarrassing questions about the motorcycle. She would also expect him to help clean up after the family reunion. He took off his crash helmet. He could squeeze under the door and explore the hallways by foot. But he could not bear to part with his helmet. And anyway, he had no desire to travel by foot anywhere now that he's ridden a motorcycle. Ralph scurried through shadows on the floor to the curtains, which he climbed to the windowsill. There he sat, huddled alone, staring out into the night, listening to the kissing sound of the bats as they zoomed and zagged through the eaves of the hotel, through the pines and back again. Around the window, the leaves of a Virginia creeper vine shifted in the breeze, and down in the lobby a clock struck midnight. An owl slid silently through the nights across the clearing of the parking lot, from one tree to another. Ralph could remember a time when he had envied bats and owls for their ability to fly, but before that he hadn't experienced the speed and power of a motorcycle. Early in the morning, the smell of bacon drifted up from the kitchen. It was not until he was embarrassed to discover that Keith was awake and lying quietly in the bed watching him. "Hi," said Keith. "Oh, hello." Ralph wished he had returned to the mouse hole before dawn. "Well, I guess it's about time for me to go home to bed." Keith sat up. Don't go yet. Wait till my folks get up." Ralph leaped to the floor. "I didn't think you would want to talk to me, after I lost your motorcycle." "I may never have a chance to talk to a mouse again." Ralph was flattered. It had never occurred to him that a boy would consider talking to a mouse something special. "What'd you like for breakfast?" asked Keith. "You mean I still get room service?" "Sure." He pulled his knees up under his chin and he wrapped his arms around his legs. "You mean you aren't mad at me anymore?" "Well, I guess you might say I'm mad, but I'm not really mad. I've been lying here thinking. It wouldn't be right for me to be really mad. Because I get into messes myself sometimes. My mom and dad tell me I don't stop to use my head. I guess that's my trouble too. I don't stop to use my head either. They say I'm too much of a hurry. They say I don't want to take time to learn to do things properly." Ralph nodded again. He understood. If he had waited until he had learned to ride the motorcycle, he would never have ridden off the bedside table into the wastebasket. "I'll never forget the first time I rode a bike with handbrakes, reminisced Keith. "I took right off down a hill. I had always ridden bicycles with foot brakes, and when I got going too fast, I went to go with the foot brakes, and they weren't there. What happened? By the time I remembered to use the handbrakes, I hit a tree and took an awful spill." Somehow this story made Ralph feel a little better. He wasn't the only one who got into trouble. "The part is," Keith continued, "I'm in a hurry. I don't want to do kid things. I want to do grown-up things, real things. I just want to grow up." "Well, you look grown up to me," said Ralph. "Well, maybe to a mouse, but I want to look grown up to grown-ups." "Yeah, me too," Ralph said. I want to grow up and go down to the ground floor. Everybody tells me to be patient, but I don't want to be patient." "Yeah, me neither," agreed Ralph. "Sometimes stir next door in room 216. Well, I guess I better be running along," said Ralph. "Say, how about that breakfast?" "Sure. What do you want?" "How about some bacon?" Remembering the fragrance that had come up to the windowsill. "And some toast?" "Yeah, with jelly," he agreed, and he ran off to the mouse hole, eager to tell his family things were not so bad after all. They were still getting room service. But when Ralph reached the mouse hole, he found pandemonium. His brothers and sisters and cousins were huddled together, squeaking with fright. His mother was picking up a bunch of shredded Kleenex and putting it down again, only to pick up another bunch as if she didn't know what to do with it. Uncle Lester and Aunt Dorothy were there too, stuffing crumbs into their mouths as if they expected never to eat again. "Dear me," Ralph's mother was saying. "What shall we do, Ralph? There you are at last. Where have you been? Never mind. We don't have time." "Time for what? What's going on around here?" "The house cleaner, your Uncle Lester, the sheets." Oh, do be quiet, everybody." Ralph's mother was so agitated she could not tell her son what was even going on. Uncle Lester swallowed a mouthful of crumbs. "It's like this, Ralph. The house cleaner discovered a hamper full of sheets and towels and pillowcases with holes chewed in them." "Uh-oh," Ralph thought. Whatever had happened was his fault. He might have known. I heard her telephoning the manager about it from the office, continued Lester. The manager came up and called the maids in and the bellboy, and everybody had to look at the chewed holes in the sheet. It's quite the powwow. The motorcycle, thought Ralph. I wonder what happened to that motorcycle. There must be a chance it didn't go in the laundry after all. You didn't happen to see a motorcycle in the office, did you? He had ventured. I was listening, I wasn't looking, said his Uncle Lester. I'm not a fool. Ralph, you know what this means, his mother managed to pull herself together to say much. It means this is war on mice, said Aunt Dorothy. It means traps and poison. Who knows, this time the management might even spend some time on an exterminator. We have to flee. There's nothing else for us to do. And if we flee, the owls will get us, said Ralph's mother, causing her brothers and sisters and cousins to get awfully squealy. Shh, the mother mouse fluttered. Flee? Ralph was bewildered. Flee and leave room service? Room service, exclaimed his mum. How can you expect room service after you lost that poor boy's motorcycle? It's all right, Ralph assured his mother, and could not resist adding rather grandly, I've already ordered. Room service is being brought up. Bacon, toast with jelly. This news has silenced everyone. A breakfast of bacon and toast with jelly delivered to the mouse nest without first being dropped on the carpet and abandoned? We want some jelly, we want some jelly, all the cousins began to squeak. Be quiet, ordered Uncle Lester. Do you want him to help us? Ralph knew no matter what the others chose to do, he was not going to flee from the hole, not until he found out what had happened to the motorcycle. He was very sure of this, and all at once he felt calm and clear-headed as he had never before. He knew exactly what his family should do. Be quiet, everybody, or Ralph ordered, standing up straight to all his relatives so they could see him. I'll tell you what we're going to do. See here, Ralph, interrupted Uncle Lester. You're pretty young to be giving orders to your elders. Now, Lester, said Aunt Dorothy, let's listen to Ralph. After all, he is getting our food brought up to us by room service. No one else in the history of this family has done that. This silenced his uncle, and Ralph was lowered and started continuing. What we should do is keep quiet for a few days. He looked down at his little cousins, who for once in their lives were not squeaking. I will arrange for room service to be brought our meals so we don't have to scramble around looking for things. That way we won't attempt to taste anything that's poisoned food, or go near any traps. If the management doesn't see or hear from us in a few days, they might forget we're here and just go away. Now, just 1 minute, said his uncle. This boy won't be here forever. You know how it is with these people. They're here today, gone tomorrow. Ralph had the answer. This is only Sunday. He'll be here till Tuesday, because Monday is the 4th of July, and his father said they don't want to drive on the holiday traffic. He always brings us plenty, and if we don't stuff ourselves, we can save enough to last until management forgets us. Uncle Lester nodded thoughtfully. That seems like a good idea. Yes, but Ralph, there's one thing that worries me, said his mother. How are we going to tip room service? When people have a waiter bring food to the room, they always give him a coin or a tip or something for his service. We don't have money. Ralph hadn't thought of that. If we are going to continue to accept room service, we have to do the right thing, insisted his mother. Don't worry, I'll think of something, promised Ralph, in the grand way he had acquired since he had ordered a meal sent up to the mouse nest.